Okay, what up, everybody? Woo! This is so fun. So we're going to do the super adoption framework, and I'm going to talk about it. What we're really going to start with is talking about what's a framework to get adoption inside HubSpot that any admin can use. I call it, and you're going to see this, we call it the true north, but getting credit. It's a framework I like to use when you think about process enforcement on how you're going to do it in Leverage Super. At the end, we're going to have some partners show up how they're doing some of this framework to be able to see it. So let's get started. I'm actually going to skip that because that feels weird. The biggest thing is I used to do Salesforce, and now I don't. I do HubSpot, and that's all I think about today. And we are doing a Hubelution, and that's why we're all here. So what does Soup? Woo!
Hold on. We got to get louder than that, ladies and gentlemen.
We're doing a Hubelution.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
That's what I need.
There we go. And there's the mayor over there.
The mayor is here.
Mayor's
Mayor of
here.
Inbound.
Woo!
Give it up for the mayor, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Mayor Rob is in the building enjoying
Yay!
some lunch.
So what does Super do, and how is it going to help? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this until the end, but essentially, you can take all your processes and be able to put them directly into HubSpot and across any revenue tools that allow you to get process enforcement, get process adoption, which is the true north. Everyone's saying that's great. So the agenda, bluff, which is the bottom line up front. We'll go through what I think is the CRM problem and how we don't approach the CRMs correctly, why process is not the most important thing, adoption is, and introducing a framework that I think you could use and it would help your life. We'll do some Q&As and then we'll bring up some partners. So first, this comes from the military. Used to use too long, didn't read. I hate TDL, whatever it's called, bluff, because you put it in format. The big idea, your product, your CRM, and every tool adjacent to that, CPQs, if I have property management or if I have others, all those internal tools are actually a product, and RevOps managers are what? Product managers that are managing products that are optimizing for what? Adoption, not the process itself, which will make the process better. Waterfall plans and operating these are not effective because you're optimizing for adoption, not your own end states is what we end up doing, and so that creates very brittle, broken implementations. And then because of this, adoption is what we should be looking for, and adoption, if we solve for that, will lead to better input, will lead to better data, which leads to better decisions, which leads to more pivoting, which leads to more winning, which we like to do, especially Aaron K. So here is the adoption framework. We'll get it. It's not creed, it's actually credit, because admins get credit for the work. HubSpot gets credit for the work. And so that's what we'll be talking about. And it's some specific things that you need to be doing everywhere, which is celebrate, remind, enforce, define, inspect, and train. I believe in it so much. I have a shirt called Process Enforcement. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so CRMs help drive revenue. Big promise. We're here talking about HubSpot. We don't have to go through these, but the idea is, and the big dream that we say is, if you have a CRM, you're more efficient. That is wrong. But you hear it say here, if you do this thing, you have more effective sales, you're more efficient, you are happier. That is only true if people do what? Adopt the CRM, and we just forget it. It's like you can have a CRM, but I've seen more Salesforce graveyards, which are actually run by Excel documents, and that's why I use HubSpot. But even though it's easier to use, it doesn't you still have adoption as you customize. So sometimes, right, it's actually, if you look at 50% of all CRM implementations fail. And they fail. Why does the implementation fail? It's like, I didn't get my revenue number. No, they fail because you didn't get the promise, which was more efficiency, which is because I have a process that we all follow that I can then even get to the end state, right? So this is the reality. There's a bunch of stuff here. There's 50% to 75%, but this is generally what the agreed upon. The fact is, if you don't optimize for adoption, you lose. So here is the 5 reasons people say. I just want to go through these. I think it's interesting to hear them. So you have adoption, which is low user adoption. That is reps. That's anybody using it, even adjacent tools. They're fragile. It's too heavily customized. And I'm going to talk. It fails because we we don't have the right scope because we didn't prioritize the right thing to get the users what they need. Don't have the support or training we need to use it, so we don't use it. And we don't have the data, in it. I just want you to hear all of these things. Get rid of the word adoption. If something's too heavily customized, what does that mean? That means I have a need as a user that I can't use it, which is really a what issue? Adoption issue. I have prioritization, there's scope creep, which is really a what? I have a feature release that I need, it's a adoption issue. I don't have the support or training I need because I don't know how to use it, that is a what? A adoption issue. I don't have the data I need, thus I can't use the product, that is a what? A adoption issue. I just want us to see all roads lead to Rome or adoption, and we don't talk about this. We don't. What do we say? We say, by the way, these are all like if you think project-based, like I have been crucified by people before for these specific things that I have failed to do because I didn't scope right, and now you have to upcharge, and now they hate me, right? So and then it leads to these kind of cycles, which many I have benefited from when like other part like my life is it phase 1 I implement 6 to 9 months. Phase 2, decreasing usage over time. The people who implement it no longer there to train, they leave the company, you don't have any of the documentation, it's in a Word document or it's in their head, it no longer reflects reality anymore. Phase 3, you repeat 1 and 2 over and over and over again, and it looks a lot like this. You have your CRM, you spend a bunch of money, then you go up, you upgrade. Sometimes that's coming off HubSpot because HubSpot's not working because it can't customize with me. No, it's really just a really bad project that doesn't reflect our processes. So we don't have adopted, and you just go up, 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 and up, and up, over and over and over again. Your CRM is not growing with you. So it's a very fragile system that you must handle with care. And you have all these costs. I'm not going to go through these, but I'm going to like, I will, because I think this is fun. You've heard these things. I think we connect them all. Cost 1, I'm going to read them here. A road Excel spreadsheet comes up. Because it needs to merge my process and I need to collect something that's not in the CRM. Then over time, the adoption decreases because you're doing what? You're relying on an Excel document. And so you don't have the training. Like your data is less and less effective because you no longer have the data. So you get even less requirement. You get new questions, more issues, and it just spirals into my CRM is not good. And it's really a scream for help that my thing's not adopted and doesn't represent how I want to use it. So how do we fix this? CRM is a product. It seems so simple, but if you treat it like a product, it will fundamentally transform how you think, how you deliver, and what you build. And you need to optimize for this. So instead of up and down, your CRM grows as your business grows. Because as your business grows, you need a new product because your users have different needs, which are what feature releases that you need to give them. Okay, so this is it. I have been taught, it's been hammered in my head that process, you start with process and then you do what? You find the tool. You start with process and you get all the requirements down. Once you have the requirements, you then can select the tool that meets all the requirements. That is incorrect, and it's a logical fallacy that needs to be redone. Adoption, you start with adoption because sometimes you get requirements that don't increase adoption. They're solving not for the end user, which is your rep, they solve for the management, and that decreases usage. So it's just like, it is important. Adoption is number 1, and then it's like it's rotation. You need a tool that increases adoption. Why did you sell your house, you give up everything, and you build on HubSpot? It's for this reason. I gave a total investment in HubSpot. It's because it solves for adoption first, then goes into process, and then goes into tools. And now you're seeing, this is what we call the Hubvolution. It's like, this is what I think is occurring, and I think we all see this. Next is, so the tool you pick actually matters. You don't do process first. You actually need to think about adoption, and if your tool doesn't think about adoption as its primary, it's probably a bad pick, or you're gonna just have a lot of pain managing it, which you've all felt. You then have your MVP and iterate. So you don't solve for every requirement. They're crap. let me read that. Let me just be clear. People, I don't know the Matt in 3 months from now. My child might get an illness, and I might have fundamentally new like requirements in my life and rhythms. The process I built no longer works for me. Businesses are the same. They go through troughs, they go through increases, and they also, as they grow, growth begets complexity. If you're solving for 6 or 9 months and trying to do something for a living, breathing thing, it will no longer be what you need. And so that's why projects, you like MVP and iterate, and you need a process of eating those new features and reprioritizing. As like RevOps, if you're a solutions partner or you're an in-house RevOps, that's what you need. And you'll see this, and then this. Every time you release a new feature, what are you doing? You're actually increasing the maintenance that you must be able to do. You must answer every question about it. If you push something out that's not adopted, your entire, like your name and being able to do something new becomes more difficult, and they will know like you lose credibility. So when you treat them like feature releases that have training and support, that it always should be prioritized, like how you're answering it. So here are the implications. You're hearing me say this. Adoption can be queen too, but it's like they're royalty. Adoption's a royal thing, right? Is the king that we're going towards. This is what's important is if you don't have, it's like 100% adoption, not 90%, is there's this like, if you can't use the data set, you can't use the data set. And so if there is not adoption, then it's not what, you have to go to 100% adoption, optimize around that. It has a multiplicable effect because if you can't use the data set, what do? You get an Excel, and what do? That's now your data of choice, and what happens? It is no longer, it quickly goes downhill. So it must be very important. Implications, I go through adoption over function. Sacrifice functionality of your CRM to make it easier to use. That's why you do MVP. Sacrifice. This is why in 2021 I went all in on HubSpot. I sacrifice, which now is not the same issue. We now have so much more. But I literally was like, I will give up functionality to actually have something people will use because that is better. Ongoing, there's no such thing as implementation. I actually don't use the word implementation. We have product launches. You have new feature requests. And that's it. I have a product. And if you ask me to do something, I'm launching a new feature, or I am you want to create a total new product that we're putting together. Any new tool is a product launch. Any new feature on top of your CRM is a feature launch. And if you want to completely restart, you're launching a product. And you got to treat it like that. Product market. You must name. You're gonna say name your CRM. Give it a name. Make it a leaving. Make it Henry. Do you love Henry? Do people like Henry? And if they don't, then you go buy Henry some new clothes, right? Henry, you can't kill Henry. You give him a name. Don't kill people. But just keep it real simple. You'll hear me what that really looks like. Okay. So how do you get adoption? We've talked a lot about it. I think if you walk away and you don't think adoption is important, we can't be friends. We can't be friends, but we'll just talk. Adoption, if you walk away, you don't think that's the most important, then I've failed here. But here are the questions. Anytime you do a feature release, anytime you do a product release, you must answer the 5 W's in several different ways. Who, what, when, where, why. And so who should I ask if I have, and all immediate. These must be immediate things for users. Who should I ask if I have a problem? What should I be doing right now? When should I be doing it? Where should I be doing it? And why should I be doing it? We must answer those questions habitually over and over again in lots of different ways. So how do you do that? This is where our tactics, this is what I call the credit framework. These who, what, when, where, why must be done via celebrations, reminders, inspections, definitions or definers, enforcers, and training. Because all of these things we answer. Training, you tell people this. Celebrations, you're celebrating people when they do the right thing at the right time. All of this must be built in, and if you don't think about this in this framework, you're less likely to get adoption. So, and then this is I would just things to be thinking about this is the rhythms that they occur. So it's like predictability and inspections, predictability and celebrations. Predictability matters so much. So when you create these, how are you doing them predictably in places people know where to go? Expectations, and then it has to be extremely accessible. I could have all of these answers on a Google Doc, every single one of these, and it's not accessible, thus it fails. So it must be accessible, it must be expectation set, it must be on a rhythm, answering all these questions with these tactics. That's the framework. It's almost an impossible task. How do you do it? Today, we do it via just exceptional human effort, via Google Documents, via creation of problems, via Slack messages answering. It's human effort. This is why we created Supered. It's like when I think about this is why we created the ability to answer all these questions and do it in a way that enables RevOps managers to serve their end users. So I gave lots of examples. So you're going to see some of these from some of the users. So by the way, they have not shown me what they're going to do me. They're talking about what they're going to do right now. I'm just as surprised as you are. I can't wait to see it. But here are some examples of what this can look like, right? Notifications and for celebrations, reminders. And you can just see all the different ways you can try to do this. But we're going to show you how to do it in Supered, which I'm pumped to show. I'm going to do a quick demo of some stuff here. I'm going to show you the newest thing in Supered, which is the ability to go across different platforms and send updates. Then after this, I'm going to bring up Scott Flanagan and Harris Kinney, and we're going to come up and they're going to show us how they're using Supered for clients and give us 3 examples of each. So let me do I'm going to do just a quick thing. Hopefully this works. I'm going to take my glasses off because I just realized I had my sunglasses on. That's ridiculous. Okay. I thought I actually was wearing my glasses, is what I just realized. Okay. I cannot believe that. Yeah, style. What in the world is that? Okay, so what I'm going to show first is the ability to make updates. So let's pretend I have my sales team works primarily on HubSpot and LinkedIn. And they do all their prospecting in Sales Navigator. And I need to be able to show them and teach them how to use Sales Navigator to create account lists, to be able to, what a persona is. I have some very specific functions I already have to create targeted lists that I want them to use. I have messaging I wanted to give them. And I want to put that all into LinkedIn. How do I do it? By the way, I also have that same type of information, how to use HubSpot, all inside HubSpot. How do I do that? And let's say I'm launching the product of LinkedIn Navigator and how to use LinkedIn Navigator. How do I give people that information in LinkedIn where they live? That's what this new product is. That's when you see it's called updates and the ability to show that. So I'm going to do this live. So we'll see how this goes. So first, I'm going to go into Supered. I'm going to log in. Inside that, I go to Process Enforcement. Under Process Enforcement, I go to Updates. Now, I'm going to create an update. I'm going to go to Create Update, and I'm going to say LinkedIn Navigator Launch, set by me. I'm going to display as a modal, not as a pop-up. I'm going to go to Loom Videos. Guys, you're going to see how I make videos. I send people, here it is. Okay, the Super Duper Challenge. There it is. We're going to put the Super Duper Challenge right here. So this works with anything, by the way. This works with an IORAD. This works with a ClickUp document. This works with a Miro board. This works with Vidyard. So you can put any documentation just the way I saw. All you just have a share. There it is. So I have a video. That's intense, by the way. Now we have audience. I can choose for specific users. So maybe it's only certain users, like the SDRs, that I'm going to put into LinkedIn. So today that's just going to be specific users. I'm going to target that to me. I can put media, so I can change what this is. I can make a whole Henry just got an upgrade, and you can put that up there, right? And Henry is on LinkedIn, and we just have that, and you can have a media and be able to sell because you're doing product marketing. You're doing product marketing for people. And then I want to connect that to a card. So you can connect this, and I have built a LinkedIn card. So let's go to my sample. I don't have that here, so we're going to do demo. And let's hope that is a great card. And I'm going to do publish update. And I'm going to actually open that. Okay, so when I go to LinkedIn now, I'm going to refresh this and watch what's going to pop up. Boom. I just popped up like an update on a URL that's not HubSpot because I'm updating this. I could have taken this and even put it to a specific URL and only Sales Navigator. So I'll show you that in a second. But you can put updates because let's say I don't want to look. Let's say I don't want to look at it because I'm going to say X up here. And what if I go to HubSpot? Because I didn't put a URL, it goes everywhere that Supered is. So there's no way you can tell me you didn't see that. Because, by the way, we track who actually looked at this, and you can now track who's seen the updates directly. And you can now treat your internal tools, and you can give it a name, and it has legs and arms, and it's Henry. And you can say whether or not he's got an upgrade or got new clothes. And so if I see this, I can go to the card, view the card. The card's brought up, which that's another great card. It's another video, and it got a full explainer on the right. So this is one little subset of how Supered, and you can start treating your CRM processes and tools as a product and be able to ensure you get what? Adoption. Okay. Before I go in, any questions? And then we're going to have some more live demos of Supered. You're here. Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. David Passman, any questions? No. Okay. I was taught to wait 5 seconds, so in my head I just counted to 5. Okay, we're gonna bring some partners up. Y'all are gonna get a mic. We're gonna change this out, and we're gonna go through. There's gonna be about a 2-minute break. There's not a break. Y'all sit, don't move anywhere. You're going to see some awesome. So here we go. We're changing. Who wants to go first? Are you going first?
Oh, Scott's going to go first.
Scott, going first? Okay.
We're going to use his.
Sweet. Okay, when you present, you must wear these. So,
all right, I was looking for pink sunglasses.
Okay. Okay.
You can check that off my goals for inbound. Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Hello? Test? You can hear me. All right. I hope I can do justice to that, to Matt. We've been using Supered for, 4 or 5 months with our clients. I played a lot of video games and did a lot of UI customization and started my career in technical writing and knowledge management. So I saw this tool and I said, oh my goodness, there we go. Oh my goodness, this is the Elmer's glue that I've been playing between my sales, service, and marketing teams for my entire career. I have to have this because to beat the dead horse, right? You need strategy, process, adoption, then you get data, then you have confidence. So I'll show you just a couple of ways that we're using this to help our customers. Number one is 2/3 plus of us are entirely visual. So I always struggle to come into a new team and work with them and adopt and understand all of their processes and what's going on. So first thing, I want all of these links in one place so it's easy to get to. Right, we will build these cards and processes across different places, but really structure the core of what a company needs. And that is, let's drop a card. Of course, during a demo. Let's drop a card right next to our company name to give us all of the primary links that we need, right? What is our mission and values? What are our primary goals? Like what does our tech stack and our map look like so that we can start showing all new team members or anyone exactly what's going on. Like we can build our entire go-to-market engine within HubSpot and we can link out to all of these things in one place. So that's gold. One piece, but each of your different go-to-market teams have different needs and we want to do the same thing. So what is that dashboard I wanted to go look at? Well, here are all of our core dashboards. This is another way that I think most of our customers have found it makes it incredibly easy. I don't have to go dig through all of my reporting and dashboards. I can link to all of my primary functions and add more onto this and link out to my knowledge base. All right, and lastly, right, for each of our departments, like what are the core dashboards, what are the core pipelines, our personas? It's all just, let's coordinate and make all of this easy. It's one click away. So that's one way. There's a lot of different processes that go into this. I won't touch on too many of the sales. I get to get sandwiched by Matt Bolian and Harris Kenny, so this is going to be great. But like all of our custom objects and what we're doing with these, like let's link out to our processes. Here's our custom objects. Like you can be tracking content. Here we go. There we go. You can be tracking content, your employees, training, all kinds of things right here. And for instance, we can have a whole pipeline, like easy ways to get to what's active, what's going on. So all of these pieces. All right, I'll jump forward. That's one piece, but we have team members that are constantly in records. How do we make sure we add the right amount of friction? Tell them what pieces they need to add and what they don't. Right, and so when we jump in, we can add validations and/or add entire processes right into cards. So, for instance, if we wanted to manage our inbound event, we have our entire attendee, visitation policy and what to do, right in one place. Right, same thing with validation here. The last piece I'll say is huge shout out to RevPartners. They do such a good job. Such a good job with sharing and promoting the community. So I saw a video from Brian Kreutz that he put out, and I was like, oh my gosh, we can deliver training for all of our customers and put it in one place. So we're able to give everyone the baseline of training on HubSpot and the defaults by embedding videos and all kinds, here I'll refresh this, all kinds of materials in one place. So now like when we're training new team members, we're training them in HubSpot, on HubSpot with their tools. So if I go to tasks, right? I finished training, awesome, way to go. What are the next steps, right? All kinds of information, helpful resources and assets. But so we have like step-by-step, couple-minute long videos for each things, and a lot of videos of me. I won't jump into too many of the sales pieces. I'll leave it there and hand it back to Matt, or hand it over to Harris. I don't see him. Thanks very much. I'm Scott Flanding with Squad 4. Look forward to meeting you after this.
Oh, yeah, we're going to keep using his computer. Oh, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Hey, I don't, if y'all, the best uses of emojis in all of HubSpot is named Scott. We call him HubScott, just so we're clear. So is that answered? You think about the adoption framework, credit, and you think about expectations and rhythms and knowing where to go. Like you have to answer all these questions all the time because you're building a product. And so this is a great example of how you do that. Where do you go if you want to understand the value of the company? You have the companies. Where do you go if you need to know your dashboards because you forget where they're at and which one's used for their specific place? And so starting building those is one aspect of many that you can now do. So thank you for showing that. That's awesome. Next is, I don't know he's showing, but he is building out the function of outbound inside HubSpot. So doing the function of outbound sync is the name, but he's building outbounds. I have no clue what he's showing, but maybe it's about that. So we'll see it. Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. So yeah, I'm a little bit heretical here. We're talking about outbound and inbound. Like I know I'm at the right event, even though it doesn't seem like I am. And I want to talk about where I think sales is going with HubSpot and why I think sales teams are going to be increasingly using HubSpot and why I actually think it's going to be the tool of choice of sales teams over other blue software you may have heard of. And so I just want to show you why and show how Supered is going to be, in my opinion, already essential to delivering that. So HubSpot is not built for high volume outbound cold outreach. I mean, it's like literally the opposite of the inbound philosophy. But it is also true that there are companies for whom cold outreach is a really essential part of how they grow their business. And so if you want to send 10 emails a day, 100 emails a day, 1,000 emails a day, 10,000 emails a day, can you do that at scale and still be a HubSpot shop? And I believe the answer is yes. And I'm going to talk through how we're doing it and why Supered is so important, because outbound is different than inbound in that you have very little context on how you got that lead in the first place. I mean, the point is typically that a rep goes out, finds a company, and reaches out. You don't have this whole activity feed of they visited the site, they filled out a form, they downloaded a white paper, they went to the webinar, they, all these different things. It's just, you just get an email back from someone and you don't know why we reached out or what the purpose of the campaign was. And so basically what I'm saying is that I think that as HubSpot grows, I think there's going to be workflows that are going to be done off platform and then brought back on platform. And that's what we're doing with Outbound. So the app that we're building is called Outbound Sync. Now, Scott owns a computer and had it available, so I'm using his device here. I don't have every single thing built out that we would want to show in Supered, but I can follow up with folks more after and show a little bit more detail on how it works. The first thing I just want to show is this flow chart as I navigate Scott's hotkeys. So basically the idea here, and I think this is going to apply to a lot of other tools beyond just what we're building, which is that there's a lot of things that are happening off platform. So in this case, we're building campaigns and we're running them through a sales engagement platform, and then they're going to basically run through Outbound Sync back into HubSpot. And so the problem is that when you're creating outbound campaigns, there's all this context that the SDR team is going to have, or maybe a marketing RevOps person is teeing up the campaigns. Like, what's this list? Why? What's the reason we're reaching out? Why now? Those are things that all get lost when all you have to work off of is a single email reply. And then finally, you have activity that's happening in HubSpot that you want to send back to your sales engagement platform to make sure that your SDR team isn't stepping on marketing's toes. So what are the block lists? Who are we not reaching out to, and why are we not reaching out to them? Having context and explanation within HubSpot for why we're blocking the SDR team. And where we're going with this in the future is setting up custom objects for your cold outbound secondary domains and secondary accounts. So what we're going to be able to do is marketing is actually going to be able to have an emergency stop, and they'll be able to actually stop the SDRs from running campaigns off of domains that are on block lists or from accounts that are going to spam. And the reason that's possible is through Supered providing the inline or contextual documentation to the marketer about what's happening on the IT side of the shop. So I'll just show you what that looks like within within HubSpot here. 4 fingers to the next. Which one? Thank you. Okay, 4 finger swipe. It's a name for a band. So here's HubSpot, and so here's what does this look like? Now, the idea is that we're pushing all of this activity from the sales engagement platform over to HubSpot. And there's a lot of things that we can embed within these campaigns, for example, like testing different data sources, or, oh yeah, oops. Oh yeah, there we go. Sorry, off brand for a second. All right, back on brand. Testing different data sources, running unique campaigns, campaigns to specific geographies, like who are we routing these replies to and why, what's the messaging that those reps are going to be doing to follow through and why, what's the specific activity that we're trying to drive through our outbound activity, and then also how does outbound stack up to our inbound initiatives? What is the cost of acquisition? What's the sales cycle time? What are all of these things where we're now, if we're going to be ingesting and pulling all of this data from off platform into HubSpot and trying to standardize in our reporting, the entire team is going to need to have a much better understanding of what the heck the SDRs are doing, especially if they're sending out 10, 20, 30, 50,000 emails a month. What are they doing and how's it working? So we're pulling that in, and then where we're using Supered is, let me try that. There we go, 4 finger swipe. Don't go to the bottom left corner on Scott's computer. Okay. So here in Supered, and I'm using, this is all Scott's content that he's built out. You can have this information available to the reps, so that they can understand and pass off. Like this SDR when you're running outbound and you have this SDR to account executive handoff, they're booking the meeting or using HubSpot meetings for that. The AE, if you're doing this well and you're getting replies and they're getting meetings, you've got multiple people who have no idea what the heck the SDR is doing. The marketer is like, what campaigns are we running? Potentially the reply handler is different than the person who sent the campaign, and then the account executive is different than the person who booked it and handled the reply. And so Supered allows you to pull that all into one place, and so that everyone can get up to speed really quickly. Because I guess where I'll end on is this. Outbound is very hard. It's very easy to mess up. But if you can get it right, you have to execute at a very high level throughout, because the entire time this customer is going to be much more skeptical of you than they would be if they went through an inbound channel, right? Every meeting, they're like, why the heck am I talking to this person? Who is this person? I don't know who they are. They landed on my inbox. They landed on my LinkedIn. They called me, whatever. And so level of execution that's required from a sales team is significantly higher than an inbound lead where you have like a lot of grace from the prospect who's discovered you and been following you for months or years. So Super ties it all together, and it allows those reps to perform at a much higher level. And I guess, in closing, what I'll say is that while things can happen off platform and conversations, meetings are happening off platform, at the end of the day, when you come into a context where you've got a cold meeting and they're meeting with the AE for the first time and they've got 15 minutes and the person's mindset is like, what the heck do you want? You want that AE to be set up for success so that they can crush that meeting and move forward and then ultimately close the deal. So thank you for listening, and I'll let Matt take it from here.
Okay, glasses. Power glasses. Okay. So I'm gonna use. Oh my goodness, Scott, you're backwards. Okay, so I want to open it up. So I'm gonna do a few things. I get the same questions over and over again about potential future releases that I'm gonna cover. I also want to say this. Is we are doing a inbound super 10K pitch tomorrow, where if you want to see how other partners are using Super to do industry and vertical specific, it will be there, and it all culminates, and then whoever wins gets $10,000. It's going to be really cool. So come, you'll see that. We're going to have a bunch of HubSpot people are going to be here. Kevin Dunn, Kyle Jebsen, a bunch of some CSMs are all going to see this happen. And you're starting to see why there's this culmination and movement around Super. Next, what are some big things that everybody asked me about Super that's coming? Number one, that pink. I love pink. I love pink. If you didn't know that, I love pink. The pink bolt is going to be you have the ability to white label it for your customers, and you can remove the pink, which I wouldn't know why, but to be able to put your branding directly in, because you need adoption, you can be able to put that as yourself, so you can hear that's coming. The next question I get over and over again is, because it's a good one, is can I do team-based permissions? Can I have different sets of users see different tags, different notes in different locations on different URLs? The answer is yes. Both of those are coming within the next 2 to 6 weeks. If you tell Steve, it's Super Steve, if you tell him you want it, you get it faster. Because whoever complains the loudest, Aaron, gets the things they want. Just as a point. So I want to open it up to questions, Q&As, and if not after that, I'll sit here, answer questions, and as part of this super duper challenge, you have to do a selfie. So we can also, if anybody wants that, you can go get some points. So I open up to questions or answers. I'm going to answer another one. Can I put IRAD, which we love IRAD, can I put IRAD in in-step trainings where I can have click button pushes? Can I put that directly inside Super? Yes. I highly recommend you check them out if you haven't heard of IRAD. Sean's right over there, and he's the man to be able to show you how to do that. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. I will sit here for however long you want to talk after this. Stay awesome. Keep doing it big, and stay super. Adios, everybody.